30 years ago my grandfather dug a well. It supplies our home and has a pump to supply water to a mini water tower thing to give our homes water pressure. Another person built a house nearby and there was an agreement for them to plumb into our freshwater supply for limited domestic use, cooking, cleaning, toilets, etc. This agreement has stood for 10 years without any problems. So what's been going wrong? The house next door was sold. It's now starting to get hot. So the next door neighbor has been filling a swimming pool. I don't see a problem with this. What I do see a problem is they fill the pool and drain it every single day. Based on my calculations they're wasting close to 400,000 liters of water every single day. When I told them they can't waste water like this, they told me to freak myself because the water is free and nobody owns it. So I gave them a warning showing that the water supply belonged to us and it wasn't free at all. I was told to back off again. I watched as they filled their pool again and drained it again. I simply turned off the valve supplying their home which is on our land. They now have no water whatsoever as they tried to fill their pool again this morning. They're now complaining and whining about not having any water. I told them they can get a tanker to come and fill their pool and supply them. Am I the idiot about this? Not the idiot. I live in a small town and haul my own water. One of my neighbors is on a well sharing agreement and the good owner's property has changed hands 3 times since he's been there. There is a written agreement, but it's not legally drafted and therefore invalid. If I was in your shoes it would have been shut off the first time they told me to back off, then I would put a flow meter in and start charging them per cube and make sure you're charging more than the nearest community. It is your pump and well after all. Not the idiot. Underground springs are not limitless water. Source. Our wells dried up during a drought. Another time, one neighbor forgot to turn off the spigot and left his water on for 2 days in the garden and it ran dry. Question. Do they only own the house and not any land? If water came with the house, even though you had a specific agreement about water with previous owners, they may be entitled to water. I wonder if you can charge them for water. Anyway, you may be up the creek without a paddle since they don't have water to even cook with or for sanitation. Not the idiot. I live in a country area a few hours outside of a major city and we have a lot of second homeowners near us. A family bought the house next door and they come every weekend from the city and every weekend we run out of water because we are on the same aquifer as them. They fill their pool with a hose every day because their kids splash water out of it. Meanwhile, we don't even have drinking water or water to shower with or flush the toilets. Last summer we ran out like usual. My SO went over to their house and they left for the city the night before and they just left their hose running, just pouring water, not even with a nozzle on it. When I was in my mid-20s, I froze some eggs. We ended up freezing 10 eggs. I was lucky enough that my job covered part of the costs. Fast forward. When my husband and I were ready to get pregnant, we ended up just getting pregnant naturally. I am currently 35, I had my baby a year ago. We do want 2 more children, so we will likely use a few of the eggs. My sister, 30, had 1 kid in her teens, my 12-year-old niece, and has recently gotten married. She and her husband have been together for less than 6 months. Even though she was young, my sister's first pregnancy was a struggle. She has been told that she probably will not be able to have another baby. Now, she and her new husband are asking me if they can have 1 or 2 of my stored eggs. I instantly told her no, I would feel very weird about it. I then softened my stance and told her that if she paid me a substantial amount of money, I would let her have 2 eggs. I have been paying $70 a month for the past 9 years to store them and paid a hefty fine for the process of removal. I gave her a price of $5,000. I admit that this is mostly done to dissuade her from asking me. She's really torn up and blaming me for not being able to enjoy sharing a child with her husband. I told her to find a donor egg and she would be able to do that. She says she wants a baby that is related by blood, my baby. I also told her, frankly, that if she can't afford $5,000 for the egg, she can't afford another baby. Before she got married, she was constantly asking me for money. She has now gone on to whine to any family member or friend in earshot about how much of a horrible sister I am. My parents are begging me to help my sister start a family and are saying that if her new husband leaves her because he wants kids, it will be my fault. Other people are even coming out of the woodwork to shame me for not giving her the eggs. I feel for my sister, I really do. But these are my eggs. Even if they are not used, they are mine. Am I an idiot for not giving them to her? Everyone's the idiot here. Your sister is an idiot for asking and not taking no for an answer. You are also an idiot for putting a price on it and not just making it a matter of principle and sticking to that. Nobody has the right to any of your eggs, and there are perfectly viable alternatives for her, such as adoption. By putting a price on it, however, you're signaling that it's not a matter of principle, but a matter of reimbursement. What are you going to do if your parents, or anyone else for that matter, cough up the $5,000? It seems clear that you don't want to sell your eggs, and rightly so don't put a price on them. Everyone's the idiot here. Your family shouldn't be guilting you over the possible end of your sister's marriage. They should have talked through her fertility issues prior to marriage and outlined potential options. I wanted to say not the idiot, but you come off as pretty heartless here. If you want to say no, say no. Don't set a high price which just puts the issue back on them. You're trying to make it financially unattainable instead of being honest, which wins you an idiot. Plenty of people successfully raise happy kids without starting off with $5,000 in the back. Your judgment of your sister kinda screws. Not the idiot, giving away your eggs is like giving up your child to her to raise. She doesn't have the right to demand you to give her a child. However, telling her okay for a price leads to her thinking you are okay with selling your eggs when that wasn't what you meant at all. Be honest. If the answer is no, it's no. If her marriage can't survive because you didn't make it possible for her to give birth, then that's on them, not you. They are adults and need to sort out their issues. So I, 19, just realized I apparently dropped a major bomb on my stepdad, 50, and my mom's, 42, relationship without intending to do so. Basically, my plan was, I discussed this with my mom, that I would live with my mom through college as a way to save money instead of spending everything I loan and make on rent, food, etc. This went well for 1 year until my stepdad moved in. He and my mom have been together for 7 years and married for 2, however, they did not move in together as my mom likes her independence. Unfortunately for him, he lost his job and of course could not afford his mortgage as a result, so he moved in, sold his house, and asked my mom if he could move in. She said yes, obviously. He uses the money he got from the house and his savings to pay his fair share and is looking for work, so he's not freeloading. Let me get that out of the way. Now I tend to give my mom some money here and there if she needs it, and I pay for my own phone, car, stuff like that, but she has never charged me rent, instead telling me I should save up so I get a jump start when I graduate. Well, that changed. My stepdad found out how much I have saved, which is a considerable amount, and I work a lot outside of college, so I make a reasonable amount too, and he has been demanding I pay 1/3 of the rent, utilities, groceries, etc. After endless whining and wearing down, my mom finally agreed on having me pay 1/4, and well, that's where we have been for the last 3 months. For me, it means basically 90% of my paycheck goes to this, so I lost any benefit living at home gave me overnight. Add to that my stepdad tries to use his authority to get me to do stuff, is obviously bored, and as a result annoying as hell, talks down to me, and even tried to institute a curfew. I am 19, haven't had a curfew since I was 16, and I am done with it. My girlfriend invited me to live with her, and I moved out last week, and yes, I talked to my mom about him plenty of times. So I moved out last week. My mom tried to convince me to stay, but I clarified in detail why I was moving, and well, my mom is furious with my stepdad. Their relationship is extremely strained. I am an only child, so I guess moving out several years before intended freaked my mom the hell out and drove her into action. Regardless, I told her I am not coming back. Now their relationship is in tatters. My mom is extremely upset at me, and I feel terrible for my stepdad. After all, I do love the guy despite it all, and well, I feel guilty. Should I have done something different? Am I an idiot here? Not the idiot. It's perfectly reasonable that you moved out if your mom changed the rules for you living in her house, and on top of that, your stepdad was overstepping his boundaries. Anyway, what did your mom expect would happen? Hey kid, from now on you will have to give us 90% of your paycheck if you want to keep living here. Kid moves out. Mom's Pikachu face. Don't feel guilty about their relationship. She should have thought about you and stood her ground, not just caved to his requests just to keep him happy when she didn't even need the money. Not the idiot. My interpretation. Your mom's husband pushed to make your relationship a business, landlord-tenant relationship. You decided to have a different landlord because the new place has clear advantages over the current place. So, now your mom has realized that this jerk pushed her into a business relationship with her own child. This guy blew up your mom's relationship with you, and she has to figure out how to navigate now. None of which is your fault. Not the idiot. I would encourage you to have a discussion with both of them to try and smooth out. You don't get the financial benefit of living there. Stepdad is trying to impose his rules and attitude. You chose to leave instead. You are still young and learning how to make your way in the world. You will always need your mom's love and support. Since you left, it's obvious to me that you are not trying to damage their relationship. Telling your mom why is just you being honest. My son got married 8 months ago to a woman we've never liked. They had a surprise wedding, meaning none of us knew we were going to a wedding, and we were told it was just a cocktail party. My wife wore white. Now that I think of it, my wife wears a lot of white, and that makes daughter-in-law even more of a stupid for never warning us. Well, for 8 months she has been trying to spin it to make my wife look like some crazed mother-in-law who showed up in a wedding dress. She had a wedding picture on social media, and when someone commented who wore white, she wrote back, "That's my mother-in-law, she doesn't like me," and a laughing emoji. My wife called her out on it, and she played the victim and whined about my wife trying to upstage her. She has made a couple snide comments and told people who weren't at the wedding that it was intentional. My son knew how much this was pissing me off and pulled me aside. He said that she is insecure because when she showed the wedding pictures to her best friend, who couldn't make it, the friend immediately commented that my wife is gorgeous. I guess her mom said something too. My wife used to model and not to be an idiot, but she draws your eye much more than daughter-in-law. He said that she is insecure, and she has always felt insecure around my wife. Also, we are Hispanic and she is white, and I guess her own mom was telling her she should tan, and she was going to look pasty compared to everyone. I don't really care. I have a 15-year-old daughter, so I certainly get that woman struggles with body issues, but you don't get to take that out on someone else and spread lies. She made another comment recently about the picture being proof that she is the innocent one in the relationship, and I snapped at her that I am sick of hearing about the white dress, and that maybe if she put more effort into her own appearance, she would have been a beautiful bride and people wouldn't be looking at her mother-in-law. She stormed off and my son is mad. He actually said his mom has great self-esteem, she doesn't, so we should take the higher route. Everyone's the idiot here. You weren't an idiot until that comment. I don't know why you thought that was a good response. You have an irreproachable narrative here that distills conveniently into a single sentence. It was a surprise wedding, we were told we were coming to a cocktail party, and had no idea wedding etiquette applied. Optional second line. We wish she wasn't upset, but that's just something that happens if you surprise people, same as people not showing up because they don't know how important an occasion it is. All you had to do was keep repeating that everywhere and every time it was mentioned. Why did you throw away your moral high ground? Did you need to insult her that badly? Everyone's the idiot here. She sounds petty, insecure, and rude, but your comments were definitely uncalled for whether you like her or not. Unless you don't want a relationship with your son, you need to try to mend this. Not saying to screw up to her, but be civil for your son's sake. Sit down with both of them, apologize for what you said, but let her know she didn't warn y'all, so your wife wearing white wasn't your wife's fault, and ask her to drop it. If she's still rude after that, you did what you could to be civil and it's up to your son. Everyone's the idiot here, but you're also kind of a huge idiot. Yeah, she has insecurity problems, but gee, I wonder why. She clearly gets the vibes from your wife that the two of you don't like her, and her comment on the picture says openly that she's feeling it. So she got called out for stating simple facts and is obviously still butting heads with you, who then went and did your classic judgmental thing. Right down to childish comments on her looks. It's very clear how mentioning your wife was once a model that you have serious shallow problems with your son's wife. I'm just going to lay it out straight. My husband is across the country for work and has been since January. He won't be home until mid-June. He was supposed to be able to come home this past week, but can't because of current world circumstances. After a long pregnancy that was filled with me being very sick throughout, I gave birth last week to our second, obviously alone. It was outside of his control. When we got pregnant, we didn't know he would have to be across the country and he flat out could not come back. I get that and understand. I got a few video calls and had jokingly talked about a push present, but there were no flowers, no anything. I get it, he's across the country. And this week was Mother's Day and my birthday. It's also our anniversary next week. He let me know yesterday that he didn't get me anything, so not to expect anything. I'm freaking crushed. I am trying to be reasonable, current world circumstances being what they are, but nothing. Not even a Facebook post on either day. No flowers. Nothing. Just me sitting at home with our toddler and newborn crying my eyes out. I told him he hurt my feelings, that I feel underappreciated, but he tried to say he was just busy, which he has been, and that we would do something when he got back. Except that it would be no effort to just get me something off my Amazon wishlist or 2 flowers. I tried to let it go, but today all my friends, knowing obviously my birthday and that I just had a baby and then what today is, asked what he had gotten me. I burst into tears and just fell apart. And here's why I feel like the idiot. I then texted him telling him what everyone else got for Mother's Day, and he responded saying he was just a crappy husband. I'm not trying to make him feel like one, but I feel like I must be some kind of crap wife, that he couldn't be bothered to just do something for me. I tried to explain that, except now he's probably in bed, and I'm sitting here crying and trying to feed a new baby. Am I the idiot for bringing it up again? It's too late for him to fix it now, but I literally am just in shock that he couldn't do anything, given all of the big days that are lumped together. I don't even normally get Mother's Day anything, because he doesn't bother, but nothing for my birthday, nothing for our anniversary, nothing for me giving birth. My feelings are hurt, and I know it's hormones, but yeah. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Although it's really difficult, it doesn't sound like he's making any effort at all. I've missed Easter and birthdays, I've not seen any of my family or friends in over 2 months now, but I always called. In the case of my niece's birthday, I had physical presents, but I couldn't give them, so I asked if I could get them anything delivered or an online presents like a movie pass. You might have to nudge him in that direction, give him ideas to redeem himself, and see how he responds. Definitely not the idiot. This situation screws and he's being a crappy husband. Then trying to make you feel bad for telling him he's a crappy husband is just idiocy. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I am very glad you told him you're upset and why. Even though this round of celebrations he really blew it, hopefully, he'll learn and make more of an effort in the coming years because you have made it very clear that it matters to you. Good job advocating for yourself, there's no reason to feel guilty for it. Not the idiot. My mom's birthday is May 4th. It is a separate celebration which one does not combine with Mother's Day. Sometimes this does create a bit of pressure on my brothers and I to always afford gifts for each event and take time traveling for said events. So I get he may feel pressure from Mother's Day, your birthday, your anniversary, and a newborn baby birthday all occurring around the same time. But to do nothing? That's cruel. You've sacrificed so much having a child alone, the least he could do is wiggle his stupid fingers around his phone to send you a gift showing some appreciation.